What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and today I'm going to give you a quick history of some of the loading systems paintball markers used to use. Now, this is what I personally used to use starting back in the 90s, and there's a whole bunch more, but I'm going to show you some of the stuff that you guys didn't have to deal with. Now, this is the gravity-fed hopper that you guys know about. Well, some of you know about. These were gravity-fed, meaning that to get the paintballs into your markers, you had to shake and bake to make them go. So you'd open up like this, you pour your paintballs in, and as you shoot, your paintballs would go into your markers like that. And for the speed we were shooting, we were only shooting semi-automatic back in those days, so this was quite sufficient. A lot of markers you would have to get like an elbow piece on there. This was one of my first semi-automatic markers back in the early 90s. I had a Spider Classic. This is actually a little better, but you get the elbow piece and it would go into your marker like that, and then the pew pew would begin. You'd have ways to tighten it so it wouldn't flex like that. Now, in the late 90s, Tippmann came up with their own feed system, which was pure genius. I have no idea what Tippmann's doing now. They suddenly disappeared off the map. But Cyclone Feed system was genius because your paintball would drop into this bigger hopper feed, and it would cyclone feed the markers in at a faster rate, which was genius. And the really cool thing is when you would go full auto, awesome, totally cool. So when you bought a Tippmann marker, it would come with these special shaped hoppers. I think this one was called the Ricochet Hopper, and again, you had the huge output, big input, so it was very easy to feed, and it went into the marker with no problems. You can even buy special squishy pads to make it feed even better. But yeah, you can tell this thing would feed like a monster, and I used this for so many years in my paintball career. Now, when we wanted to get even more tactical, they came out with these. We call these stovepipes, and as you can see, I think they fit around 50 paintballs. They fit around 50 paintballs inside of this thing. We wanted to be more tactical, so less spray and pray, and a lot of us use these things back in the day. Now, when you wanted that extra ammunition, these came out, Pinocchio Hoppers. And no, I'm not overcompensating for anything, but these things were massive, very well made. This is an extendable piece that you can see that went on. Usually it went around here, but you can get them even bigger. And this is the monster size. And yeah, this went into the Cyclone Hopper feed. Now, again, to get it to, I'm trying to fit. Let me see if I can fill this one. Like, that's how much a pod would fit into. That's just the nose cone, right? So you can get almost an entire pod into that bad boy. And to get her to feed, she would feed pretty consistently, but you'd have to edge her up a little bit to keep her going. And this is when you needed those heavy gunner days back in the day. Then we entered the age of badass magazine-fed paintball, and again, Tippmann gets extra points. They came out with the TPX or TIPX now, and it took spring-loaded magazines. These things were awesome, like really very dependable, as Tippmann used to always be. You go in the mag as such, and the pew pew would commence, and yeah, amazing. I was so happy when MagFed came out, because that's, you know, I got into paintball for the Milsim. And then a whole bunch of other brands started coming out with magazine-fed paintball markers, which was an insane feeding system. This is one of the newer adaptations that this company made for an extended clip or magazine, as some would call it. And so many companies came out with their own versions and adaptations for this magazine marker. Now, then my company, Dye, came out with their 10-round mags, right? Other companies have their own magazines, and it just started going crazy and awesome from there. Aftermarket magazines came. Planet Eclipse came out with their 20-round feed magazine, what was amazing, especially for first strike rounds. And one of my friends came out with his own FID 20-round feed magazine, which was also very cool. So here we are in present day paintball with some of the most advanced, technically advanced feeders that you have in the world. This is the Dye R2 loader, amazing engine inside, has an amazing motor inside of this thing to force feed, sorry for the beeping, to force feed paintballs down into the marker, because these new paintball markers shoot so fast that there's no way a gravity-fed hopper could keep up with it. And the cool thing, one thing about the Die R2, which was really cool, if I don't mind saying myself, that when you look at how fast this thing feeds, first of all. Insane. And when it's empty or close to empty, it starts beeping to let you know. It also lets your enemies know that you're running low. And then the most advanced paintball loader in the world, the box rotor, box mag by Die Paintball came out. Amazing. I love this thing. It is so insane. It fits the most paintballs you can get in the loader pretty much. And the reason why it's so cool is that you can load it from both sides. You put your paintballs in. Right? Now you can load it from one side. They just flow over all over the place. And the why it's so advanced is that it's got the power to push paintballs up into your magazine-fed marker, and it uses Bluetooth to sense when you're pressing the trigger on your marker. That's it. That's when it's turned on, and it uses Bluetooth from your marker to push the paintballs up into it. So it's so cool. And then when you press the trigger,